Hello, it's Chef Brackman. Welcome to my live. Tonight I'll be talking about traveling with children. So this week I have been packing because we're traveling this weekend to Sri Lanka. Who's there? Okay. So we're traveling this weekend to Sri Lanka and I've been packing most of this week. Hello. Which has given me a lot of ideas to share with you. Has anybody traveled with children before? Was it fun? Was it a headache? Okay. Well, I'm no expert by any means, right? I only have 5 children. I've only taken 5 children to multiple countries, but I'm not an expert. My daughters have lived in 5 countries. They were born in Dubai. Then we moved to Egypt for 2 years. And then we moved to the Netherlands for a year. They lived in Nigeria for 3 years, and we're living in Doha. So, 5 years. My sons have lived in 3 countries. They've been to 5 countries, and my daughters have been to 15 countries. So, I've been doing this for a while. My children don't travel with me as much as I would like because travel costs money. That's one. And our interests are not always aligned. There are things that I particularly like that they might be too young to participate in. So I do some trips alone and I take them to certain places, right? So there are some myths around traveling with children. Some people say that the children will not remember. I think it depends on their age. I think from 5 years old or something, they remember a lot more than you think. My sons are 5 years old now. My daughters are 9 years old. And when I told them that we're going back to Sri Lanka this year, they were very excited because we had gone the year before. So they remember from last year. And for this year, I'm trying to do a different part of the country from what we saw last year. So I hope they enjoy it as much as they enjoyed it last year. Some say it's too expensive. It is expensive. It's really expensive. Ticket prices are not smiling. Hotels cost more. And obviously, we have a lot of children. So travel is a lot more complicated than it used to be when I had just 2 kids. Because now, I'm not going to be in the same room with 5 children. So you're going to now be considering whether to take an apartment as opposed to hotel. And then if we decide to stay in a hotel, you can plan to bring an additional adult so you can split yourselves among the children or split the children among the adults, something like that. So that's where we are as a family. We no longer fit into a hotel room. And we cannot leave children unaccompanied in a hotel room. So when we choose hotels, we need to think about that. Otherwise, we choose apartments. So we're going to be doing a mix of those on this trip. They say it's stressful. Yes, it is very stressful to travel with children. I used to have a phobia of losing a child while traveling because when my daughters were much younger, I was in Dubai and I was trying to get into the metro and they were in the tram. And they were in the metro, yes. I just pushed their metro and then the door was closing on the handle. And if I'd taken my hand off for 1 second, I would have lost them on the metro. And that stayed with me. When parents say, oh, one child got on the bus and the bus left, or one child got on the train and we had to call the police, blah, blah. I can't handle those kind of things. So I try not to go to very crowded places. I'm very particular about where I take the kids at this age because they tend to run off and those kind of things. So the destination, I have to pay attention to things like jet lag. Some people say to wait till the children are older, but they start to build little experiences and tolerance of travel. So I think you can start whenever you can. So sometimes flights go well, sometimes they don't. So I think the flight timing matters, especially with children. So if you have the opportunity to pick a flight time, because if you live in a big hub like myself, I live in Doha. So flights to certain destinations, sometimes you have 3 times in a day, depending on where it is. Like India, I'm sure some airlines have flights to different, so you have to check. My children sleep at 8 in the night, so flights that are like 2 a.m., it's madness, because it will be way past their bedtime that you're heading to the airport. They'll be very cranky. It's really, really miserable. So I try not to do it. I tried daytime flights, but this time our flight is in the evening, and then we're arriving very early in the morning in the other location, which is not a problem. They should have had 5 hours of sleep on the plane, and then they arrive, and I just put them in a hotel and put them in the shower. So you need to take this into consideration. Also, will there be jet lag? So at the moment, I tend to travel in this region with the children, places with like 1 or 2 hours time difference, so that they adapt to it, they can adjust better. Jet lag is stressful enough, even for adults. So when you're fighting for your own life and then dealing with cranky children, it's a lot. So you need to take that into consideration, that, where we're going, you have to adjust suitable timing for adjustment. So it's not very practical to take such young children to somewhere that has like 7-hour time difference and is only for 1 week. So by the time they're adjusting to the time, you're already coming back. So it's better to do those for longer trips and that kind of thing. Food adventures. Of course, you need to investigate the local cuisine where you're going. You need to be sure that your children will be able to eat there, which was a problem that I had with my sons when I went to Rwanda. A few years ago in 2023, I went to Rwanda with my 3 sons and my nannies. And my nannies, they like spicy food, and Rwandan food is not very spicy at all. And both my sons and my nannies were not eating. I'm more adventurous with food. I will eat local cuisine anywhere I go. So after a day or 2 of them struggling, we started to go to more ethnic restaurants. We went to Nigerian restaurants, went to KFC, went to different places just to be sure that they could find something that they would eat. So Sri Lanka works because they like fried rice, they like grills, and they like curries. So white rice with a curry. So there's a lot, and rotis. So there's a lot in the Sri Lankan diet that my kids already eat. So that's why we went last year. It worked out perfectly, and we're going again. And our nanny is Sri Lankan, and she's coming with us. So that just is convenient. Then that takes away the looking for a visa for the nanny. So that's what we're doing this year. And then illnesses, you need to pay attention to the terrain of where you're going. Are your children easily motion sick and those kind of things? That, for example, I didn't even know my children were motion sick because we've never really had an opportunity to find out. And then we drove from Kandy to Negombo, and it's very hilly, and the road just goes this way and this way. And at some point, myself, my husband, and the nanny, we all had a bag to catch them getting sick. And that was like a 5-hour drive. So you need to pay attention to this kind of thing. So within Sri Lanka, you can see the distance showing 200 kilometers. So you think, maybe 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours. But no, it could take you 6 hours just because you're driving through mountains, the roads are narrow, and it's very bendy. So you need to pay attention and plan better. And that brings me to why I changed the itinerary. So for this trip, I had a big plan. Like, I wanted to see a lot of the cities that I hadn't seen. So last time we were in Sri Lanka last year, we arrived and went to Colombo, and then from Colombo we went to Kandy, and then from Kandy we stayed in Kandy. From Kandy I visited the cultural center, so Sigiriya, Dambula, and then we came back, went to Negombo, and then from Negombo we flew out. And took a train to Nura Ele. So this time I was like, yeah, I have to go here. I wanted to go to Anuradhapura because it has the oldest known planted tree still alive. It's 2,000 years old. It's a Bodhi tree, so it's very special to the Buddhists. And I've heard about this tree so much, and it's also a city that my nanny comes from. So we're planning to go there last, leave her there, and then come back to the airport. But it's so far away where it is, and I don't want my children to be in the car for more than 5 hours on any of the transfers. So I've adjusted the trip. So now we're going to do Colombo for the night we arrive, and we're going to go to Ahongala, and then we're going to go to Gal and Ella, and then we're going to go to Olawatu, and then back to Colombo. So it's much more manageable, the hours, the time on the road. So the days on the road will still be like a lot of driving, but you can stop for food, stop for attractions, and that sort of thing. So you need to pay attention to this and to toilet breaks. You have to plan it, where to stop. And if you're traveling with children, what I do is that we're at the airport. Once they start to call for boarding, I take everybody to the washroom. What I don't want is to get into the plane, and when they're forcing everybody to be in the seat belt about to take off, everybody will be wanting to pee, and you'll not be begging air hostesses. No. Once they call for boarding, all the children should pee, so that when you get on the plane, they can be relaxed till you take off, at least till you achieve altitude. So you need to think about those kind of things. Plan bathroom around your children, plan meals, take them somewhere, eat, bring a snack on the plane, because sometimes they don't like the plane food, and then they don't have food and they get cranky. So whatever it is they like to eat, whatever snacks they like, bring it on the plane. Have wet wipes. Children, their hands get sticky. Pack additional clothes. Sometimes it will be like film show, like you see the exact moment when the orange juice just goes on their shirt. So yeah, you need to plan for this kind of accident. So have extra clothes, wet wipes, snacks on the flight, and plan bathroom breaks. Like you achieve altitude, you wait small. Before they start serving food, you ask who wants to pee, because when that trolley is there, and everybody's seat is folded and all. So just plan it, or just after meal service, bathroom, then you put them to sleep. So you have to really, really pay attention to this kind of things when traveling with children. Luggage, pack well, like now, and then plan. Am I going to wash? Am I going to do laundry? So you're going to be going to places that have laundromats, or hotels or Airbnbs that have a wash. Some hotels will wash for you, but sometimes they charge a lot per item. Sometimes, like a lot of Asian countries, you can do your own laundry, like Japan, Singapore, and all these places. You can always find somewhere to put a coin in and wash and dry and come back. So you have to put this in your planning to know how many clothes you're taking. For what I have done just now is that I have 3 sons that are 5 years old. So I'm just going to assume that I've packed for a week. We're going away for 2 weeks, but I have 7 days times 3 children. That's 21 t-shirts, 21 shorts, a lot of socks, a lot of underwear. And then I've put an additional, so I now have like 35 t-shirts, 35 shorts, a few long sleeves, a few trousers, a few jackets, because Ella is in the hills, so it's a bit cooler than most of the country. Then shoes. We're going to be on the beach a lot, so we have Crocs, and then we'll have sports shoes for walking across the airport and walking to certain places when we're going to be walking. But they'll be wearing Crocs most of the holidays. So each person has 2 footwear to manage the load. The clothes are more important. Then you plan your washing. We know what city we're going to be each day, so we know which city that we must arrive and do laundry immediately. So there are certain cities on the trip that once I arrive, I give the loads to the hotel to wash. And then if you're going to be hand washing yourself, you have to bring detergent and pay attention to the weather, because last time I had this big bowl of laundry, a lot of underwears and socks. I hand washed it myself in the bath, but the water was so hard in Kandy that it wasn't really foaming. So it was really difficult to hand wash. And then it rained so much that the clothes had stayed wet. So sometimes it's just more practical to either drive to a laundromat, put a coin in, wash your clothes, come back, or just give it to the hotel to wash for you. or pack enough clothes for the duration of your trip. But I know my kids are going to wear more than one outfit on a day. So let's just say that this 35 shirts and t-shirts and co would probably last that 1 week, as opposed to, because if you go out in the morning to the beach and they get sweaty, you have to change them. So they're going to wear multiple outfits on certain days. If they spill food in the restaurant, you're going to change them. So just plan your laundry instead of carrying their whole wardrobe and dragging it across the airport and making a nuisance in your hotel room and all of that. I'm going for 2 weeks, but I have packed for 1.5 weeks because I know that midweek I will wash and then the next week I will wash. I don't want a lot of load. So I have planned how we're going to do it. And it's a similar planning for the girls, that we're going to wash and then we're going to reuse certain things. So there are a lot of black pants and black t-shirts and things that can endure what children do, make a mess. So you should try not to like pack a lot of whites and all of that. And you need to pay attention to certain cultural things, because some of you, yes, you're a fashionista and you want to show that you're a fashionista and your children need to be fashionable and blah, blah, blah. But countries like Sri Lanka, especially in the rural areas, there is a lot of traditional toilets, you know, the hole in the ground, they have to squat. So if they're wearing all these dungarees and all these long things and they unpin it and pull it down, they're going to come back with the bottoms wet, because a lot of these places with the traditional toilets where people typically use water as opposed to toilet paper, the floors are always wet. So you need to pay attention to the culture, to the tradition, where you're going, what kind of toilet behaviors they have, and plan. Like if you know they're going to need a bathroom, maybe have a coffee break in a nice place, plan to go to the restaurant so they can use the bathroom during lunch, and then a snack break in this place that has a bathroom. But there are some places it just can't be helped because you're in the rural area, so you need to plan. So countries that allow wearing of shorts and all that, they should wear shorts. They should wear what children wear. They should be comfortable and enjoy themselves, because that is what you're there for. Like if you notice, I haven't said I'm going on vacation, because I'm not. I am escorting my children to Sri Lanka. I'm in Sri Lanka in my capacity as a parent. I'm not going on holiday. I'm not on vacation. I am working for my children in Sri Lanka for the next 2 weeks, something like that. There will be moments that will make you question your sanity. You should know your children well. You should know what they can or cannot do. You should be careful. If you go to the beach, you know which child is likely to run into the water. If you're close to a cliff, you know which child is likely to go crazy. When I was much younger, before I had kids, when I was still naive, there are certain things that they tell me happened to a child or something a parent did. I'm like, how could they? What were they thinking? But like there was a particular story that shook me before I became a parent. I think it was the year I was doing IVF and trying to become a parent. And a boy had gone with the mom to the zoo, and the mom wasn't paying attention. And that boy had climbed over the fence and jumped in with the gorilla. And it was an emergency situation and there was no time for be careful. So they had called the zoo people and they had to put that animal down immediately because the animal was going to kill the boy. So they just, it was so fast how quickly that gorilla was killed. And it had upset me very much. Even though I knew that a human life will always be more precious than a rare gorilla, still, I just felt, oh, this woman should have been more careful and all of that. And for a while, I didn't take my children to zoos. We do now. But those children who their ears are decorative, I hold them, you know. So there are ways to mitigate these things. You should just know, you have that awareness that this child will try this and try that. Then you mitigate, you come with an additional adult. We could have gone to Sri Lanka by ourselves, but we're taking our nanny just to have that additional adult. We do that sometimes, like even when we're in the Netherlands on holiday and we're going to zoo or going to certain amusement parks that have a lot of people, we will take my sister-in-law and her husband, Alma and Andre. Sometimes they come with us, just additional adults, and everybody is responsible for a particular child. just so that you avoid, be careful. Because we can say we can't do, we'll never do, but when you're in it, especially like my family, we have a lot of children that are the same age. I have triplets that are 5 years old. I have twins that are 9 years old. So it's not really a situation where one child is 10 and one child is 5 and you can tell the 10-year-old to look after the 5-year-old and blah, blah, blah. No, there's a lot going on. So if you're in this kind of situation and you want to travel with your children, it's work. There's some moments, of course, in traveling that will make you question your life's choices. One of them was with my daughters. They were about 2 years old, and I'd taken them to Malaysia. My husband had a training, of course, and we invited ourselves along. So we used to stay in the hotel a lot while he was on the course. So this particular day, there was a mall that was close to my hotel. So I'd walked there with them and I'd done some shopping. And then as we were leaving, we were still in the mall because my hands were busy. So they were walking beside me. And then at some point, they just decided to run in opposite directions. I almost went mad. The groceries fell from my hand. I stood there and screamed because I didn't know which child to chase. So the ladies in the shops, the sales girls in the shops saw what was happening. They said, "Ma'am, just calm down." So they also chased them in opposite directions, then came back dragging the two of them. And I was so badly shaken because I really didn't know which child I was going to chase. And if I chased one child in one direction, what was going to happen to the child running in the other direction? And then I think they enjoyed it so much that they decided to repeat it in Schiphol in Amsterdam. And luckily I was with my husband. We were traveling with both of them again. I think at this point they were 3 years old. So we ran after them, grabbed them, and then I think we whooped them. So they never did the running act again. That's not to say that my sons won't try it, but I hope they don't. Because now you'll be running in 3 places. So what makes travel easier with children? Traveling slower. You guys know me. Some of you follow my travels. You know how I do it. Like I crisscross the country. Sometimes I do 4 countries. Sometimes I do 3 countries. I don't do that with the kids. Like even this trip, my initial itinerary, like if I was coming to Sri Lanka alone, I would have seen the whole country by now because it's a small country. But I've cut it back again because my original plan was to go from Colombo to Ahangala to Gal, Ella, Trincomalee, and Anuradhapura. I never know how to pronounce this city, but that was the plan. Now it's a much smaller circle, just to reduce how much time they're on the road and give them more rest. I've booked some accommodation on the beach just so that they can play with slides, with a lot of things for children. My children love animals, so a safari or a visit to the zoo would make them happy. As you guys know, if I'm traveling alone, you can't find me in a zoo. What am I looking for there? I've been going to zoos all my life, unless maybe if an elephant was having a baby life, maybe I would attend the birth. But if I travel alone, you won't find me in a zoo. It's rare to find me in a mall when I travel alone because I live in Doha. What do they want to do in mall that I've not seen? I lived beside Dubai Mall for 5 years. So I'm not really a walking around the mall type of girl. When there's a trail to hike, where there are temples to see, cultural things, museum, and food to eat. So I will probably sneak away from them for a cooking class or 2, which usually lasts 3 hours. So my nanny, if they're in the hotel and they're well fed, they won't even notice I'm gone. So there are a few cultural things that I'm interested in the cities that we're going to, that I will sneak away and do. And then other things I will do with them, like going to see turtles hatching, safari, parks. So there's a lot. So you can balance it that you feel like you also got something out of the holiday if you have additional help when you're traveling. Otherwise, you have to plan the entire vacation around what your children like so that it's memorable for them. I've talked about apartments versus hotel, parking lights, parking well. Parking well is very important, but also outfit planning is important. Like planning, like we're arriving at 2 a.m. in Colombo. we need to sleep somewhere and then go to Ahangala the next morning. So I've booked a hotel. On top of my box will be what they'll wear that night. Like that 2 a.m. we'll get to the hotel and I wash them, the pajamas that they wear and sleep. So I don't need to unpack everything. So from hotel to hotel, I have the Ghana Must Go that we're taking along, where the dirty clothes will now go into for washing, which makes more space in the box. And then you can plan each day what they'll wear, just so that there are no clothes thrown all around and making a mess. It just helps you stay sane. And then I've talked about snacks, keeping your expectations realistic and giving children downtime. They need to rest. Even if you're a waka waka, they are children and they need to rest. So you need to just plan and make sure that your children have enough rest, right? So that's what I wanted to share. If I remember more things, I will share with you at another time. Where are you watching from? What's your biggest fear? Traveling with kids. My biggest fear is losing them. Having to go to police and say they were wearing white t-shirt or blue t-shirt or whatever. That's my biggest fear. That I look up and I count them and one person is missing. I mean, Home Alone was a nice movie, but it's something that you cannot imagine in real life. So, Lagos, nice. So, if you ever traveled with children, did you like, my nails are gorgeous, thank you. I was doing a Sri Lanka inspired nail for the holidays. So it's, we're going to stay near the coast. So it's the sea. And my hair too is giving sea vibe. Abidjan, welcome. So that's it. I'm going to see the movies now with my first and only husband. He said we're seeing Spider-Man, sorry. Can you tell that I'm going for the popcorns because I don't even know what movie I'm going to see. Thank you. So have a good weekend. We'll be giving you a lot of content from this weekend in Sri Lanka. It's going to be fun. I look forward to it. Wish me luck because my kids are a riot squad, but I'm capable. So I'm no expert by any means, but I do know a lot about traveling with kids. So I just, pick what you can, share with me. I will share the replay of the video that you can share with me, the tips that have worked for you in the past as well. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.